What's the story to write home about? What are the defining moments? And could they be signals to what lies ahead as we count down to elections come early next year? Welcome aboard. My guest tonight, I'll be speaking to Honorable Rose Namayanja, the Deputy Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement, Mr. Leonard Egesa, a political analyst, Honorable Aisha Kabanda, woman member of Parliament for Butambala and Deputy Secretary General of the National Unity Platform, together with our frontliner, Honorable Semuju Ibrahim Nganda, Member of Parliament, Kira Municipality, and Chief of Staff. Chief of Staff. Another title.
A function.
I think you have about 10 of them. Spokesperson, now brand master.
Those are functions.
You must be overwhelmed. You just wake up to
continue with the introduction.
Well, good to have you.
Thank you.
Honorable Namayanja, I'll start with you. Pleasure having you. NRM boasts the biggest chunk of years post-independence. Today, as we celebrate Independence Day, President Museveni at Kololo said, "You are unstoppable." Unstoppable for what?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and good evening and happy independence to the panelists and all Ugandans. And yes, it is true, NRM has been in power for the biggest part of the 63 years.
40 years to be precise.
Yeah, almost. We are there. And as I was watching the last ad which was airing, you're talking about trials and triumphs. It has not been a smooth road. It has been slippery. It has been thorny in some cases ever since we got independence. As I was coming here, I was talking to my mother, and she told me she was 17 years when Uganda was getting independence. So those like her and many others have a different view of what we who were born post-independence. I mean, a lot of the things we talk about, I was not there during the 1964 referendum. I was not there during the 1966 crisis, the 1967 Pigeonhole Constitution. I was not there. I was in P6 in 1986, and I had not figured it out so well in as far as comprehension of what was going on in the country is concerned. So a lot of that, some of us read about it or hear about it, and we learn about it. But there are those Ugandans who have seen it all, who are of adult age and have seen the transformation. But I can also say that even when it is almost 40 years, Uganda was, from my perspective, I think we gained, the first independence I can talk about is stability. That I can move and do whatever I want at any time of the day, and until, even when NRM came to power in 86, but until 2008, some parts of the country were under war. So for me, the aspect of a country being stable, that you are not talking about rebels in any corner of the country. Ugandans can, somebody at his or her shop can leave the fridge outside and find it on the veranda in the morning. That level of stability for me is the first level of independence. But when you talk about what President Museveni says, we are unstoppable, you didn't conclude the statement. He said we are unstoppable in our journey of enkulakulana, because akyogedde mu Luganda, our journey of development. Even that development aspect of it, both wealth and development for individuals and families, that's wealth. But development of the country has also been a journey.
Well, I'll get back to you. Leonard, politically speaking, what benchmarks do we employ in gauging the milestones the country has registered and the setbacks?
Okay, thank you, Simon, for inviting me. First, I will correct you, I'm not a political analyst. I'm a political and business strategist. And number two, I came with the two of the leading dailies here. And that is what I'm going to use to answer your question. You know, there has been a story, a legend that has gone around on social media for a long time about guarding a concrete slab. I don't know if you've come across it. In many organizations, people guard concrete slabs. So that story comes from a military barracks, that there once was an army barracks where there was a concrete slab near the quarter guard. So people used to, every commandant who was sent to that barracks was sending 4 soldiers to guard that slab full time and even in the night. So after so many years of this practice, one brilliant commander surfaced and asked, why do we put 4 men to guard that concrete thing there? What is underneath there? Why should there be 4 men? So nobody could explain it to him. So they went digging up the records in the archives. They never found sufficient reason until they went back 80 years in time. And they discovered that when that thing was built, it was basically a platform for the parade commander to stand on. So when it was built, the first night, dogs ran over wet cement. Yeah, and then, so when the following day, the commandant said, go and make sure there are 4 men guarding that thing until the cement dries up. So what happened is that
it became a ritual.
It became a ritual. Why? Because the commandant was transferred before the 4 days elapsed. So the guy who replaced him continued deploying 4 men there every night. So people continued, so all his successors continued doing the same thing without actually knowing what the purpose was. Now, you imagine how many years of wasted resources that was in that particular unit. So what am I driving to? Is that we are not yet independent as a country. The white man could have left the country and gone, but our minds are still colonized. Our minds are still colonized. Many people who are occupying government offices are suffering from impostorism, or what you would call the impostor phenomena, or the imposter syndrome. That is the biggest thing. And until we overcome that, we are not going to progress as a nation.
But we celebrate independence.
Yes, we shouldn't be celebrating independence. Because until we overcome imposter syndrome, we shouldn't celebrate independence. What is imposter syndrome? It is a syndrome where people think they don't qualify to occupy certain positions on merit. They think that they fraudulently, or by sheer luck, they ended up in those positions. Why did I carry these 2 newspapers? It was just for symbolic purposes. When I was going through these papers, I don't buy newspapers, by the way, in hard copy. I pay and read online. But why I bought these because I realized they were independent supplements. Now, what is the message in those supplements? All these people, you see, you find their government agencies, the Atomic Energy Council, Uganda National Company, blah, 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 so many ministries and what have you. They are writing and the message is the same. They are saying the board and the board of directors and the management of this organization congratulate His Excellency, who is even the appointing authority, yeah, for most of these fellows. They are congratulating him for independence. Are we independent? So the message is actually useless. It adds no value. But it is something that has been done over and over and over and over. And it's a colonial relic. It's a colonial relic. Why? Because, you see, when we were colonized, the sovereign was the crown in the UK. Yeah? So people wanted to get favors from the sovereign, who was the crown. So the newspapers at the time carried such messages. Okay? So now, even when we say we got independence, our people who are occupying these offices still waste resources. Do you know how much it costs to pay for a full-page advert in this newspaper?
Thank you. I'll certainly, we'll certainly get back to that.
Yes.
Honorable Aisha Kabanda, what kind of conversation is the country having as we celebrate 63 years of independence? And what do you think are the lingering questions that are yet to be answered, speaking to independence?
You see, when we are starting the conversation, you said, what are the strides? What are lessons, setbacks? I was like, okay, strides. There are some strides registered. And I'm like him. I don't wish to be recognized. I don't. Because when you say don't celebrate at all, it's like you wish we are still governed by them. The major stride made is that we are able to mismanage ourselves. We are able to mismanage ourselves. We are making our own mistakes. That's the major stride.
So the colonizers let us to mismanage ourselves.
They let us alone. I have had the young people growing say, please give me a chance to make my own mistakes. So we have made our own mistakes, and we don't have them to blame anymore. I think if by this time we still blame the colonial masters for what we are going through, then we have a problem by ourselves. 63 years. Well, the majorly what's been registered, if you talk about what's been registered, yes, we have survived. We have survived 63 years by ourselves.
I think you're just being cynical in calling them achievements. I'm
being realistic. That's what it is. We have survived by ourselves 63 years. Out of the 63 years, NRM has ruled us 40 years. The setbacks registered, one will say, are majorly as a result of the instabilities that we have had. When you study our history, the common factor within the instabilities we have had, the players are almost the same. When President Museveni speaks about his life, he will talk about his involvement in national issues from the 1970s. He says in 1970, he refused to be ruled by Idi Amin and then chose to go in exile to fight the regime. When you read their books, they did a lot of mayhem to be named onto the governments then. So what we are, that's what we are. Lots of things that forced our forefathers to fight against the colonizers still exist. Most of them still are, except that now there's been change of guards. It's not them now anymore, it is us. So that's where we are. I was thinking through, when you invited me today, I was thinking through, like, okay, what have we been? Economically, what have we been and what are we now? Then during that time, we had the major cash crops I was thinking about. Even when President Museveni came, he said, gone are the days when we shall sing about the 3 C's and the 3 T's. I was like, okay, leave alone Uganda. Let me speak about my Butambala. What do we have there? You see, until when you dissect this to the smallest unit, you cannot understand it. What do you have in Butambala? What? Coffee only, nothing. The next thing we have is Mailonji. That's all. That's all we have. So
at least you have something.
It's been outlawed. We are surviving on the same small section of the law, but was outlawed. So to me, 63 years down the road, until we drop the chest thumping, say it's us, and we come together. And I have heard him talk about the national unity. It doesn't become a song until we realize that we actually need each other. We have a problem. You know, you cannot solve a problem until you have realized that you have a problem. We sit on a round table as nationals. I had someone today say he doesn't like Uganda. He doesn't like Uganda and he would not like it. Sagala siyangera sija kuchagala mpaka Museveni against. I heard someone say like, but let's talk about this country. Yeah? So where is the patriotism we're talking about? If we've gone to the extent of going to schools and teach people about patriotism, love your country, don't teach me how to by love and say you love. No, I love as a result of things that have happened to me.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ssemujju, 63 years down the road, is there a cause for celebration? And where is the country called independent Uganda?
I think I reflect the years, the time when I was growing up. You had one television station, radio station. At that time, we were sort of a nation because we were fed by one source of information. So, because you want to listen to Radio Uganda, you listen to all the speeches. There will be one agenda The same applies to many other national functions, whether it is budget reading. The birth of FM stations and social media that are providing an alternative source of information has reduced the importance of these days, because we had no option but to follow. Today, if you went on the street, I think there will be fewer people who are following even the events in Kolo itself. Part of the reason I listen to the president, one, I am a leader, maybe we are going to debate the speech in Parliament, maybe I'm going to be invited to the front and to debate it. But I think more than 90% of the country are not bothered, they don't even follow. If you ask them, they don't even know what Museveni said at Kololo. So that's where we are as a country. I have visited some other country. I was in Ghana. For them, independence is still meaningful. You will see a whole country gearing up. But the failure of the governments we have had today, I was in South Sudan in 2011 when that country was being born. The celebration that preceded the day itself, 2 days, people are on the street because they wanted self-determination from Khartoum. One time I interviewed the late Abu Mayanja, and he told me the day Uganda got independence, the euphoria in town, the excitement. So that excitement has gone. Part of the reason it has gone, Aisha spoke about it, 73% of our years as a nation, we've been under one government, we've been under one president, Yoweri Museveni. And I had an opportunity to discuss this with him when we were on a talk show. The point Egesa made, people are not congratulating Ugandans, they are congratulating Museveni. So this is about him. So it's not about the country, it's not about the population. So because of the state capture, the population don't see any value in being independent, especially because majority, if you look at the demography, the other day I told you 31 million, which is 71% of Ugandans are below the age of 29. Those who are below the age of 40 should be about 80-something. So they have known Museveni. They are not there when we are attaining independence. All they have known is Museveni. So all their disappointments about Museveni are also disappointment about the country itself. The other day when we were discussing here, I told you now have 170,000 Ugandans in Saudi Arabia, population bigger than Aisha's district, which is 140,000. So those people who are working as maids, as askaris in a foreign country, that's where the opportunity is. So which country do you want them to love? Is it Saudi Arabia that has offered them some economic refugee status, or Uganda where they ran from? So the whole idea of independence, self-determination, people wanted to be free, they wanted to determine their own affairs, but they have not participated in determining their own affairs since the first government of Milton Obote to date.
Well, I will certainly get back to you. Honorable Namayanja, besides the ritual of celebrating every 9th of October, do you take time as NRM, the government in power, to do soul searching on where you stand on matters governance, people's welfare, security, national character, and the economy?
I think I just want to pick it up from where he said as a strategist that there is no need even to celebrate independence. And for me, I think it is shooting ourselves in our own feet. Because independence, first and foremost, should be a day that concerns everyone, every Ugandan, because those that fought for this independence are not there. Today we are the ones who are there. For them, they played their part. There is that even common view that Uganda got independence on a silver plate. It was never the case. The 𝐓𝐇𝐄 the late Kachama Mayanja, there are people like Semakula, I've forgotten his second name, in 1948. His scholarship in London was terminated for fighting for freedom for Uganda. It was terminated, and then the Bataka had to contribute resources to ensure that it is paid for. So it was not in a silver plate. Those Ugandans at the time played their part. Even us, it is, regardless by the way of our political affiliations. The good thing, many of us, except this one who is not a politician, many of us here have belonged to different political outfits. But one thing that is common is that we are Ugandans. We are supposed to play that role. He talked about government, that people still think we are independent, but there are opposition politicians who even appeal to the former colonizers to come and play a part in our politics. So there is that mental decolonization.
The same way you run to them for budget.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that all of us are supposed to play a part, regardless of political affiliation.
I was not targeting your party. I was talking about Ugandans in general.
Because those ones who did so at that time. Today we are the ones who are there. Tomorrow we will not be there.